What can you share with us about the magic system? How is it working now in phase one? Keeping in mind everybody that all the stuff that they're talking about, it's still the first quarter. This is all still phase one stuff. It's likely to change. But what can you share with me about where that's out, how it's working?
Yeah. Well, as far as like the design wise goes, like we're already designed out for the first pass on that, and like programmers have been working on implementing, and I can let Jan speak on that a bit later if he's got some stuff to share with it. But so as far as design wise, Magic is kind of two different types. One is descoped for early access, so we've pushed it back. Uh, it might come later in early access, might not come till a full game. Maybe we descope until Wayward Realms too. So, so don't take this too seriously at this moment. But cantrips would be that one. So just little quick things you can do. Say like we've shown off before, the finger snap, lighting up candles and stuff like that. That would be like those types of spells. The other type is prepared spells, and those come in two different types, which is minor and major. Minor spells are a one-time cast. You create the spell, you use it one time, and then it's gone. Major spells are permanent ones, and you can recast those as many times as you want. So the difference between those two is you have to do a binding ritual in order to create a major spell. So basically, like the idea is there you can have the minor spell, you can test it out, you like it. All right, let me go do the binding ritual and make this part of my permanent, spell repertoire or whatever.
Okay, all right. So you're still gonna have to like search out words of power or whatever y'all decide for the sources of magic to be. And then once you have that, you can use that to create your spell. Still going to be creating the spell yourself, right? You can combine those and create the spell that you want. And whenever you create it, it's going to be it's going to be a minor spell that you can use one time. That's what you're going to have. And so you use that, you like it, you create it again, and then you go through this binding ritual process, and you'll have that spell to reuse as many times as you want, as long as you have the focus to use it.
Well, I can go into a little detail about like the creation of it. So invocations is what we're calling those spell components. Those
okay, invocations. Awesome.
Yeah, and obviously they all have different effects. Something is like the delivery type. Others is just like what kind of damage it deals. So there's different ones to find and play around with and mix around, experiment with. You can have a maximum of 6 on a spell with at least a minimum of 2. So you got to have at least 2 to make the spell. You can go up to 6. I mean, I guess that's you can find them from different places out in the world. Again, if you're playing a mage, we really want the gameplay loop to be you growing your arsenal, going out, finding those invocations and learning how to make new spells and experimenting with those. And like really that's how you'll grow in power as a mage, by getting more of these invocations to play around with. And those can be learned from other people. So like you do a quest for somebody and they teach you one of these invocations. You can find them in like old books, spell tomes and stuff like that, where you'll learn some of these. Breaking down magical items, you can sort of like destroy the item to learn an invocation. Don't have more detail on that yet, so stay tuned to learn more about that one. And then something we're sort of exploring, like maybe not 100% yet, but like going out into the world and like meditating at these like places of power. So like where like an area that's really magical and stuff like that, you can sort of go to these places and learn an invocation off of that that's like related to the area. So like on the slopes of a volcano to learn something about fire, that kind of
thing. That sounds awesome. Like having as many sources for the invocations as possible, at least that makes sense, I guess. Seems like a good idea, and that I don't know, that seems like a really cool way to do it. So yeah, I vote yes for that. Not that I get a vote, but yeah.
And that actually would tie back into the binding ritual as well, because it might, like, depending on what it is, it might send you out to like a specific location or a specific time of like day or night or something like that to finalize these spells. Because again, they're going to be a permanent one, so we want a little bit of effort from the player to learn these things, to solidify them.
Okay. Well, that was going to be my next question. Like, what exactly is a binding ritual? Like, is that costing resources, or is that like completing a quest, or is that what?
Yeah, it'll be pretty much like a cost of some resources and time, just depending on what invocations you're using. So, small little simple ones won't be as big of an effort as, say, like a really powerful spell that you want to make. That's gonna maybe send you, like, you have to go to this specific location and at this time of night or this day during the week, something like that.
All right, and whenever you create the spell and it's just like a minor spell, are you going to have like a tooltip or something on there? Like, in order to make this a major spell, you got to do this, or do you like get an actual quest to do it, or have y'all not even really thought that? Worked all that out?
I believe it's like you'll just be notified of what it would take to
do it. Okay. All right. What about the need for like a focus? Do you have to have like a staff or an orb or something in order to cast magic, or what have y'all decided for that?
Ooh, on that one, I don't remember what we.
Oh, come on! It's like the most important part. Almost. Arguably.
We've kind of gone back and forth on this, haven't we? A couple of times.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Well, I know it was kind of back
where's the
and forth
current
before,
stat?
but I thought now after months that y'all would have it worked out. But all right, I guess if we gotta wait, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. But no, sounds pretty great. Just one more question. Whenever you're creating the spells, because you gotta know the invocations, and you go to create the spells, is that going to require like supplies? Not the word I'm looking for, but items. It's still not the word I'm looking for, but you know what I mean. Materials, yeah.
Potentially. Again, I don't think we're doing any cost if you just want to do a minor spell. So it's just the one-time use. You get to create it and try it and see if you like it. And then if you do want to stick with it, then there might be like some material costs associated with it.
Okay, but for the initial,
I guess it would also depend on how powerful that spell is. Like,
yeah, maybe
if
even
it's
if
powerful, it needs some sort of cost somewhere. That's sort of the
exactly.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. And you said you could combine up to 6 spell effects, so you could just have like one delivery effect, say touch or ranged. I don't know if there are other delivery effects or not, but you could just have the one delivery effect, and then if you knew invocations for 5 different types of damage, you could just put 5 different types of damage on there, or
Yeah, I mean, like, what we really want to encourage is just experimenting. Like, throw everything in and see what you like and see what works.
Are there going to be other things? I know there are going to be, but I just want to hear you say it. Other things besides just the damage and the delivery. Like, are you going to be able to create, like, I don't know, some type of like chilling effect or status effects on enemies? Or are you going to maybe be able to affect the surrounding area in some way? Have like mind affecting effects, stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Have we touched on meta magics?
I did not know.
Nope,
but
but I want to know.
No, but basically the idea is that you can kind of change how an like how the magic kind of delivers out. So maybe you have like swirls, maybe it changes how the magic loops back on it. It's kind of hard. I'll let Victor kind of describe it better.
I don't think I'm good at describing that one, honestly.
But basically, just I think there's another system, not another system, but it's part of the system that it's not just invocations, but you can kind of change how the spell behaves a little bit.
You change how it behaves or how it looks? Because I was getting the feeling that it was like an aesthetic change from what you were
No,
saying.
it's not an aesthetic. It's a functional. So I guess an example of this would be a fireball. You go and it goes straight line, right? But you might do a meta magic and now it's kind of like wavy, or it might split off into smaller parts, or it might,
Oh, okay. No, that does sound cool. To shoot a fireball and it just instead of being a fireball, it shoots off into like or breaks off into like
little
five
particles
small,
or something. Yeah.
yeah, fireballs or something. Yeah.
At least that's how I took in the meta magics. Maybe I've been kind of out of date.
No, I think that's about right. Again, that's also for me not.
What about like cast times? Are all these going to have like different casting times, or based on the
remember.
power or something like that? Or
I think it might be based on like the cost of the spell, if you will. It's pretty much you put it all together. You say this is how much resource it's going to take you. Kind of thing that would be where that comes in.
Might some of the magics be something like quicken spell, where you can like reduce the cast time of spells, stuff like that? Like you see in your standard tabletop RPGs. Can we think of maybe some of those effects, or are you going for something that's more unique or different than that?
Well, we really don't like that kind of design where it's just like shortcuts. We'd rather like say like your skill improves and that like affects it in that sense instead of just having like shortcuts, I guess. Because then it sort of becomes like, well, if you do want to be a mage, then you have to
take this. Yeah, no, yeah, and that kind of sticks with the design philosophy that y'all always espouse. It's better to make it more interesting than to have something there that you just have to have. That, yeah, okay, yep, that makes sense.
Speaking of that, like one of the things I wanted to mention also is you only gain experience from having an effective spell, so not casting it. Like in other games, you might just spam fireballs, as you're walking to the next town, just trying to get that XP up. In this one, that spell will have to like actually take an effect. So if it's something like a charm spell, you can't just go charm a tree. It has to be like on a person, right? You like successfully charm someone. Now you gain XP from that. So kind of another way to sort of keep from just cheating the system.
Yeah, spamming shield on yourself in town 300 times to increase your abjuration. I forget what it was, but yeah, increase it by like 10 levels. Can't do that. If you have a shield spell on, you have to wait for it to wear off before you can cast it again. That kind of stuff.
Right.
But Victor, what if I want a tree army and I need to charm all the trees?
Yeah, I'm gonna animate them, then I'm gonna charm them, and then we're marching on. I don't know, somewhere.
And that'll be DLC. You gotta
there you go. There'll be a mod for it, right? There'll be a mod for it.